Hello and welcome to the Lake District Yogi. My name's Kat and welcome to another in my little sequence of how-tos. Today's video is how to child's pose. And I just want to really go through a couple of the basics about child's pose and offer you some alternatives that you may not really have thought of within your child's pose. So child's pose is really seen as a resting pose. I have to say, it's not for everybody. Not everybody can accessibly get into child's pose. If you've got very tight, closed hips and what have you, it might not feel anything like a resting pose. So there are alternatives that you could do. For example, you could lie on your back with your soles of your feet like that, with your knees open, or you could widen the feet as wide as the mat. That's really nice, and let the knees roll in together. And you could do that as your resting pose. If you're asked within a yoga class to, or encouraged to go into child's pose whenever you need, if it's getting too strenuous or you just need a break, then that's a really good alternative if child's pose doesn't really work for you. So this video is assuming that you can access child's pose and it does feel gorgeous and nourishing and delicious. And I'm just going to show you how to do it and some alternatives. So I'm a passionate believer that a sustainable yoga practice comes from understanding the foundations, the real basic building blocks, and then working on that. That's not to say you can't discover a class somewhere that's quite high energy, or that you fall into and you fall in love with it and then that just takes you on. Okay, you will pick it up as you go along. But if you're brand new to yoga, if you're wanting to start a yoga practice, then knowing the foundations and knowing where your grounding is and what you're working from the ground up, always what you're working on, is just really, really useful. Okay, so I'll stop talking. We'll get into child's pose. So you'll normally see child's pose with nice wide knees, feet together. My feet aren't touching, but they are together. And then you lower your torso into this nice big space that you've created between your thighs. And the arms are stretched forward. You place the forehead down on the ground. The idea of having the knees apart is so that the torso has the space to still breathe. You can do a version of child's pose with the knees much closer together, where you sort of lay your torso onto your thighs, and that has its place. That feels really nice too. But the benefit of having the wide knees is that when you're in the pose, the torso can still expand three-dimensionally and create that space for more breath. Okay, you may also hear a lot of yoga teachers suggesting that when you place your forehead down on the ground, that you really let the earth take the weight of your head. Let the neck muscles soften. You really let that weight fall down into the ground. And there you have it. That's your kind of basic child's pose. Okay, here are some little add-ons that just, change it a little. Change it up. We don't always want to be doing the same version of our child's pose. If you are about to start a restorative class, or you want to do something really nourishing, or you are literally just getting on your mat at the end of the most horrendous day and all you actually want to do is child's pose and nothing else, and you need it to be nourishing, you can bring the arms round, so your hands around by your feet. That one, you can close the knees a little bit maybe. But even if your knees are wide, you can still do it, and it feels so good. Like it's just like giving yourself the most gorgeous hug. So that's a really nice alternative to having the arms forward. If you do want the arms forward, but you want to kind of go in the other direction and really start to energize yourself for a strenuous class, or because you're lacking in energy or you're really tired, you can come up onto the fingertips as if you've got a tennis ball underneath your hands. And when you place the forehead back down, you'll feel the difference. It's much more activating in the ribs, the upper back, the shoulders. So that can be a really nice one if you want to slightly increase sensation. And again, placing the forehead down, giving the torso lots of room for that delicious breath. Another option is to have the arms forward, but to bend the elbows a lot. I cue a lot of this in my classes to students and don't see it done that often. Sometimes we just need to send the right messages to our bodies, don't we? We just need to give them the right signals. So sometimes you can go into child's pose and bend the elbows a lot, slide the hands towards you maybe. So your arms are still forward, but you're really saying to yourself, I am about to really look after myself. I'm about to rest. I'm about to enter relaxation. So that can be a really nice one. Okay, just a couple more. Arms forward, but elbows bent, bringing the palms together, and then bringing the hands to the top of the head. That can just be a really nice variation when you want to shake things up a bit. I tend to do that if I'm feeling that my yoga is particularly like a ritual that session. You know, if I'm feeling a sense of devotion to something, to the seasons, to myself, to whatever it is, and it's my practice is really infused with a feeling of kind of ceremony. I quite often do this one because it just feels right. Okay, and then lastly, there's active child, where you tuck your toes under at the back, and then when you sit your hips back, you're giving your toes, oh my goodness, like a really nice stretch. You can then come forward, you can come onto the fingertips, or you can even do the palms. You can do anything with the arms, but the toes are tucked. And the beauty of this, now I do a lot of this in my classes. If you've ever done any of my online classes, you've probably started a class like this, where we start in an active child and then you come forward and then you can kind of do all sorts of cat-cow things, and it just feels, I don't know, easier somehow to come up from tucked toes. It also means you can then lift very easily into downward dog. So anyway, there you go, how to child's pose. Don't overthink it. Try to feel intuitively, like with a lot of yoga, it's about, well, all of yoga really, it's about feeling your way in and understanding what your body needs that day. So one day you might want a really energizing active child's pose, another day you might not. As long as you know what all the options are, then you can do what's best for you. Okay, right, whistle stop tour around child's pose. I hope you found that useful. Don't forget, all we're doing is building the building blocks, the foundations of a long sustainable practice. And even for people that have been doing yoga for years, it's still nice. I do it all the time, reminding myself continuously of what are the basics of this, and that's how we kind of keep it going, I think, keep it alive. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you've got any comments you'd like to make about your favorite child's pose, or whether or not you find it restful at all. I mean, I think there's a lot of assumptions about child's pose. I personally love it, but not everybody does. Anyway, take care of yourself wherever you are, and I will see you for more yoga soon. Thank you.